Hello, hello, this is time for Polish black metal review. Gontyna Kry is one of those names that doesn't probably ring a bell for many mainstream black metal bands or that audience, but for more like a cult, underground names. This is surely to be a name to be recognized. After all, it's been here since 1993. Let's take a look at the fourth album by the band. So that's enough for my fooling around with the accent and all that stuff. Now this album was released already in 2018, coming with a nice slipcase and all. Oh, I guess worth showing you the backside of. Well, this one is called Ignipoten, and this is one of those releases that kind of get lost under the radar, so to speak. Went off the scale or whatever, because being sent late back in the days, and now I don't know. Okay, I just broke it. Well, what the heck, let's just remove it. So it's beyond repair already now. Usually these are not as that tight, but what have you, every now and then you're bound to make some mistakes. And in case you just happen to see some of the errors, I don't know if it's just my display card or whatever, but if you happen to see them, pardon for that, something is messed up with my computer, and it might be that until I get replaced. But anyway, back to the album and the band. Now, Gontyna Kry has been here for a lot of time, but it took like 10 years for the band to come back after this major break in 2018. That is, their third album was 2008 release. And I guess because of that, a lot of people had high expectations what was going on and what was supposed to be with this album now when they finally got it back. But it seems like this is dividing people, or back then divided anyway, because it wasn't exactly what the band, the audience was expecting versus what the band was doing. And as such, well, it's not for everybody. Let's take a look at the Metal Archive site while I guide you through the band here, or this particular album anyway. As you can see, founded in 1993 and then out with a few demos, compilation and whatnot, before they actually made the first full-length album in 2001. Skip a few years and you have two albums back-to-back released. And as you can see, most of the review scores here, anyway, on Metal Archives are rather appraising. They're rather not nice and high. However, there you have a notch, a weird gimmick, or not gimmick, but a kind of anomaly to this stuff. And I was reading actually the reviews, giving it a little bit of a glimpse when I was pondering what to say. Not so much to as I picked those words for myself, but to see what was going on with the different kind of rating, because it kind of caught my eye. And the thing here is, the other one is saying 90% and called it is X equilibrium of the Polish way. The Polish way, and the other is no, please no, with 15%. Now, why I mention these reviews here is because they are so different. It's like two different set of audiences listening to the same album and saying totally different things. And I actually get both of them. More this 15% though in style, because I think this is a very, very weak album in so many ways, but not as disparate as 15%. Then again, it also explained here with these two words, X equilibrium by Emperor. Now the thing here is why I find it so funny is that as much as I like In the Night Side Eclipse being one of the greatest black metal releases of all time, especially among the so-called symphonic black metal or keyboard-oriented black metal or keyboard-driven black metal, X Equilibrium is, in my opinion, a quite bad album. I don't know how I would react to that nowadays, but when I was listening to it back in the days, early 2000, whatever, I remember being gravely disappointed on that album. And as such, I think Ignipoten is doing exactly the same for Gontyna Kry fans, because it is not the same kind of stuff which is going on for the fans previously. It's kind of a different breed, and it tries to be so hard, this symphonic black metal album, but actually having kind of a low-end production. But the thing here is, it doesn't exactly manage to do neither. It's not exactly one of those raw more primitive black metal albums from Poland, which I guess is something that many people liking early Graveland and all that stuff would like, me included. But it's not really exactly the majestic and symphonic black metal either, because it most likely sounds something along those lines where a new high school band is doing something in their parents' garage. You know, you have layers of synth and some heavy metal guitar solos and all that stuff, and you still try to make it kind of sounding like badass black metal. Now, those synths are rather weak sounding. They don't really bring any extra value here. And when it comes to the drums and bass, it's quite bad. To be honest, bass is basically non-existent here. So it's like, as there is no bass at all. And the drums, well, the drums are just bad. Not machine-made bad, but still quite sloppy. Now, when it comes to the actual songwriting, it's even worse than that, because there are no good riffs, there are no killer songs on this album. And while trying to reach this behemoth low-end style, it's far away from that, because these are not closer to Emperor than Behemoth, but something like Poor Man's Nocturnal Mortem or something like that. I mean, the production doesn't really support this kind of a symphonic or synth-driven black metal, but it's not even the production that is there to blame, because the songwriting is outright weak. There are nothing that absolutely makes this like wow, except wow for the lack of bass and general being a crappy sounding album. Now, I don't know what's going on with these guys, or why did they decide after 10 years since the last album to go with this direction, but in my opinion it was a big mistake. But like I said, as you can see with these reviews already here, people are divided. Some people are praising and some people are gonna call this utter crap. Me standing in a little bit of the middle. Now, I wouldn't call this another crap album, but less than mediocre one. So I don't know which kind of audience this is actually directed to. Most likely going to betray the old fans and not exactly delivering that what was going on with Emperor back in the days, or what is going on with Behemoth nowadays. A weird creature of sorts, which is not going to get more than marginal audience if you ask me. But what do I know? You give it a chance by yourself and maybe you will like it. Just be warned that don't have too much expectations and you'll good to go. Thank you for watching. Looking forward to comments. Take care.